Right, here we are.
Hello. Welcome everybody.
To the Magic Morning Woods.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Well, no. You take those Valentine's roses and shove them up your ass. It's me, Clive Davis, with my podcasting wife.
Ron. Is that me? I'm the wife?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
The wife, Ron, yeah.
And like all great marriages...
sorry, that's just... The roses have thorns.
Yeah, of course.
The heart of my ass. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, like all great marriages, you need to let off a little steam now and again. And the resentment builds along with the love and respect.
Yes,
There's a bunch of other
and make sure you're and lots of passive aggression for your partner. Yeah.
So we decided to set up a safety valve, and this is our Anthony
Cleopatra Valentine's Day. No.
Anti-Valentine's Day. I hate you, man, special.
Yes.
I hate you, Ron.
I hate you too, Clive.
So we've gone out of our way to choose a film each, which we know will drive the other into an early grave. just for fun.
Just for kicks, shits and giggles.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll kick off with my little arrow to the heart. And I chose I'm going to pronounce this.
Please take it away and pronounce it away.
I'm going to go with Khwar, Lasme, Spogmay.
I think that was terrible. I think that was not correct at all. But no, but I'm absolutely not going to do it. But
Spogmay,
sure.
Spogmay.
But the English
translation.
Let's call it by the English translation, which is.
Well, it doesn't have one really.
Is it the cat beast? Isn't it?
Well, this is a fan.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right
translation.
Word. Yeah.
There's no direct translation for that title.
Well, there may be. Well, there probably is. It probably does mean something, but there's no official title. I see. But actually, I did see a poster today, oddly enough, while I was looking it up, and I don't know if it's an official poster, but it had half moon on it in brackets.
Right.
So maybe Khwar Lasme Spogmay means half moon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. But I have seen it also referred to as cat beast.
Yes,
cat beast.
That is the name doing the rounds amongst the incredibly small circle
of people who actually have heard of this
Pashto cinema fandom.
Right.
Yes, so it's a film from 1997.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Pakistan.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's from the northwest borderlands with Afghanistan around Peshawar, which is Pashto language, Pashto cinema, right? Mm. And Pashto cinema has the notoriety of being the kind of most headache-inducing, loud, over-the-top, kind of sleazy... as sleazy as, a predominantly Muslim country can get.
Right.
Berserk kind of cinema of Pakistan.
Right.
And I chose this knowing how much Ron enjoyed International Gorillas, which wasn't a Pashto movie, but it was a Pakistani film.
Right.
And, it's just purely to inflict pain on Ron.
So let me ask, did you enjoy this movie?
Yes, I think that was we should, yes, you're quite right, Ron, we should be specific. It
wasn't just to pick a movie that the other person hates, but also that you did actually kind of like yourself. So please tell me about that. So
I do enjoy this film.
Okay.
I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, and I enjoyed it the second time I saw it. We are watching... We should say from the get-go, this is on YouTube if you want to experience it yourself.
Right.
The spelling of that is Dakhwar, Khwar, Lasme, Lasme, and Spogmay, Spogmay. You can find it on YouTube, and you can watch pretty much the same print that we saw, which is testament to, well, I guess that the Pakistanis don't give a fuck about film restoration. I don't know if that's still the case,
Right.
but clearly when this came out, because
Right.
I think it's maybe from a VCD.
Oh, really?
Maybe. I think
it didn't have any like tracking lines from like a VCR or anything like that.
No, I think it's from a VCD. Proving once again that VCD over the years seems to have turned out to be the worst format.
Right, possibly, yeah, right.
I've never got into Laserdiscs, but
no,
from what
I
say, Laserdiscs are still holding up pretty
well. Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And VHS, if you look after them.
Yeah.
But almost every VCD that's come through my hands has ended up a glitchy fucking mess.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know of your experience with VCDs.
I don't think I've ever even used a VCD. So
yeah, they only took off in certain places.
I think I've had I had a VCD once, and I think I used a cream and it went away, so it was okay.
Oh, the comedy styling from Rod Scott, ladies and gentlemen.
Zing.
Yeah, no, I picked up a few over the year. I mean, there's certain the big one is Hong Kong. VCDs were massive in Hong Kong.
Right.
I mean, they still put films on VCD.
Yeah,
now.
amazing.
It's like the cheap alternative to a proper DVD.
Right.
Especially because there's a lot of them are pirated.
Right. Yeah,
well.
of course. Yeah.
But anyway, we're watching this, and there's no subtitles. No subtitles. So we should also to be fair to this film from the get-go, we don't actually understand what's happening, really.
Right.
Shall I attempt to do a plot description?
Please, by all means, yeah.
This is as far as I understand it, which isn't very far at all.
Right.
So the cat beast is a chubby woman in a figure-hugging cat suit.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have a tail. She does have ears and
cat ears, not just
cat ears. Yeah, no. It wouldn't be that weird if she had ears. And claws.
Right.
And that's about it, really.
Right.
And there's a loud meow.
Yeah. It's very intense sound effect about a lot.
Oh yes, yes. And I do stress loud. This film is loud. Everything about this film is loud.
Yeah.
Not only is it the meow, that meow is competing with
it's the sound editor had his hands full. Like he just like how many sounds can we mix together into the same track? Yes.
And totally apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
I think my favourite part of this was in like for the last 20 minutes or something. There's this like Tarzan. Like, doesn't matter what's happening on screen.
No,
it's just obviously he got that and he's just pressing the the sampler
over and over again.
Yeah, so I'd love to see this in a theatre.
Really,
full on loud and it must be quite an experience.
Sure, party.
So there's a cat. This cat beast, and who is played actually, I think, by the director.
Is it?
Yeah, I think the director, Shehnaz Khan, is also aka Shehnaz Began, I think. And this is one of a few films she directed. I think, so as well as being the cat beast, she's also the girlfriend of our cop boyfriend hero. Right.
Uh-huh.
Again, I might be totally wrong.
Right.
But this is what I think is happening. So, this cat beast is attacking people in this town, and her real identity is the boyfriend of a cop.
Right.
And the cop, at the same time, this seems to be a kind of not subplot, but a concurrent plot.
Right.
He has a long time beef with this kind of badass gangster dude, right? Who's played by one Asif Khan, who I believe is a pretty big Pakistani movie star.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if these two strands ever actually come together properly.
Right.
And I think, again, I'm not 100% sure. It took me a while to figure that out, but I think the flashback to how she became Cat Beast is that she was raped by this gang, man, who seemed to live in like a tunnel or a sewer
cave
tunnel
or something.
Yeah, and they come out up a ladder, right? And I don't know if they're supposed to be like a Mad Max kind of gang of outlaws, or it's just circus freaks,
or if they were like actual demons or something. Or
I don't know, but they wear a lot of makeup.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure. Was it supposed to be makeup, or was it supposed to be that's what they really look like?
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah,
it's very peculiar. I'll tell you one thing: that if ever Hollywood ever does remake it, the leader of the gang, Tom Hardy.
Oh, definitely. Good call.
I think so. Yeah. And I think they raped her while stock footage of a black cat watched from across the street.
Right.
And then she became cat beast.
Something like that.
I think.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure. But to be fair, this makes about as much sense as Michelle Pfeiffer's transformation to Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Wow, that's a deep cut right there. There's a right, okay.
So from what I recall,
I mean, I haven't seen Batman Returns in many years. Remind me how.
Well, I think from what I recall, I might be wrong here. Michelle Pfeiffer, I can't remember if she's like a librarian or something, isn't she? And I think she falls out of a window, or is thrown out of a window, and falls like a few stories, and lands on the ground, and is, I think, dead. And then some cats come out and lick her. And then she becomes Catwoman.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't really.
Now, I don't know what Catwoman's origin is in the comics. I have no idea. But I remember in Batman Returns, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm fairly certain she's not like a like a zombie. I think she's just a thief that is like a cat burglar, and she uses like a cat as like her.
No, but there's
in the comics.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so,
okay.
Yeah,
well, in this film, there's certainly something supernatural.
I don't think she has superpowers. I think she's just a.
I don't know if she does in the film either, but certainly there's these cats licking in some way revived her.
Is this in the Halle Berry one too?
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. So
anyway, that's off topic.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, I'm just trying to establish
the cat thread.
It's very easy to kick this little Pashto movie.
How about the cat people?
When it's down?
Cat people?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that a thing where the cats steal your breath or something? Isn't the movie the cat people? Oh, it's the cat's eye. The cat's eye.
Oh, Cat's Eye, the Stephen King.
Yeah, I think that's one where the cats come in, they steal your breath while you're sleeping or something.
No, that's that little goblin thing that comes into little Drew Barrymore's room, right? And then the cat because the cat's the hero of Cat's Eye.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the cat sees
okay. So what's the one?
Different stories.
Is it the goblin steals your breath, or is it the cat steals your breath? I thought there was something with the cat.
I think you may be confusing.
What am I thinking
of? Well, isn't there a basic urban myth that cats steal your breath?
Yeah. But I'm sure it's in a movie.
It probably is. Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a creep show or something. Maybe it's one of those.
Stop trying to avoid talking about cats.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
I know what you're doing.
I'm just talking about cat. I'm just following the cat thread, man.
Right.
See where the cats take us.
Well, to the basket for a nap. They don't really go very far. As the owner of two cats, they don't go very far or do very much at all. They're adorable doing nothing, but they do pretty much do fuck all.
Right.
I wouldn't hire one to do your plumbing or anything. Right. Actually, there's an amusing story which
I think you are avoiding talking about it now.
No, this is quite good because I think it was on. I think I heard about this on the series. Do you ever watch QI?
No.
It's like a British quiz. Anyway, apparently, and I can't remember.
Is that Queer Eye?
QI.
Not related.
Not
to
QI. No.
Queer Eye.
Not Queer Eye. No. I think where was this? It was in a northern European country.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember. It might have been Holland or something like this. And this was a while ago, like at least 2 or 3 centuries ago. Apparently, they were stupid enough to try and turn cats into postmen.
Okay.
So the idea was that you would put these little mail sacks on cats,
right,
and they would deliver the mail for you.
Right.
And no surprise, the mail never got delivered. So they scrapped that idea pretty quick. But apparently that was something they tried.
Well, how about here in Japan? There's isn't there a train station where the station chief is a cat?
Yes, but I don't want to destroy your illusions here, Ron. I don't think the cat is actually in charge of the day-to-day
I've heard that, and I've heard that there's been several train collisions because the cat doesn't do his job.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and lots of deaths in that area.
Yes.
Yeah, because of people trains colliding. And
But
anyway, the cat beast. Yeah, it's very cute. Very cute. It's a yellow hat and So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
the cat beast, right?
And I think that's about it, and that's why she became the cat beast, and I think that's the skeleton of the story.
And then at the end, she kills the people that raped her.
I think so. Yeah. It's particularly the Tom Hardy guy gets his comeuppance. Right. And then other than that, there's a lot of singing and dancing, obviously.
Bollywood,
I suppose some of it could be considered quite saucy or suggestive. I mean, for the place and time. And there's alleged comedy, I guess.
Alleged.
I think it's supposed to be funny.
Right.
Is there any element of the plot that you picked up on that I missed out on, Ron?
I don't think I got anything. I think that was more than I got. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
So what did you think was going on?
I had really no idea. But no, sorry. Before I go into my part, I wanted. So you still haven't answered my question, which is, what did you enjoy about this film?
Oh well, I mean. It's for a start, I do quite like when I don't know where a film is going.
Okay.
And I didn't know where this was going, or where it came from,
or even after it ended, you still didn't know where it went. Where it went.
but beyond that, I quite like. It's very exuberant. There's a lot of it's got vitality and energy,
right? Yeah.
And because it's a long film, it's longer than it needs to be.
Yes.
It's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But I have to confess, it's not boring because there's always something happening. It's always happening with a lot of energy, and there's some it's difficult to tell through the murk of the VCD, but it's got a certain cartoonish vibe to it.
Right.
The Catwoman thing is. Obviously, it's a very impoverished creation,
right?
But it's a striking visual,
right?
And of course, there's an element. It is laughable as well to a certain extent, but it's not just. I mean, if it was just this sounds bad, that would get boring after 5-10 minutes. Yeah. And it's a window into a cinematic world that I'm not overly familiar with. Right. I've only seen a handful of these. Pashto movies, and they try their very best, I think, with not what seems to be not much at their disposal, right? And I mean, for instance, the singing and dancing as well, right? The singing and dancing is nowhere near on the level of a really good Bollywood musical,
right?
However, I would argue that the very basic kind of messing around is about as good as the dance choreography in La La Land.
Right.
And that's not a dig at La La Land, because I think in the case of La La Land, they're not supposed to be brilliant singers and dancers. Right? And it's perfect. I have nothing against La La Land, but it's as good, right? I would say they're clearly fit enough to be able to gyrate and dance for a while without running out of breath, but neither is it like, oh my god, that's incredible or anything like that. Plus, they are carrying around a lot more pounds than Emma Stone or what's his face?
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Yeah. So they're clearly admirers of the fuller figure.
Yes.
In Pashto cinema, and that's also kind of nice to see. And
do you think that's the case, or do you think it was just that's who they had? That it was like they couldn't they couldn't afford to get any of the pretty girls.
No. Like I said, I think Asif Khan, for the men, for example.
Also, if she directed herself, or
oh no, that's Shehnaz Khan. No. I mean, I've seen other films as well, and I think they do like
right.
a bit of meat on the bone.
I see.
In Pashto cinema. And it's not just. I mean, it seems to be all through the Indian subcontinent, for men at least, at least until about 20 years ago or something. The leading men seem to be a bit bigger,
right,
and mustachioed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a thing, right? It's a noticeable difference. We don't have that many fat mustachioed movie stars. We have comic relief,
right,
but we don't have that many leading men who look like that,
right.
So I guess you could make the argument that it's maybe a bit of Orientalism or exoticism on my part, and maybe if I saw a load of these movies, the effect would wear off and it would become, but I think this is, if you like offbeat things, then this is not a waste of your time, and it's certainly offbeat.
Right.
And it's colourful,
yeah,
and kind of fun, and I think it doesn't take itself too seriously as well. And I kind of enjoyed it a bit like a live action cartoon, although maybe cut out half hour.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Ron, what did you make of the Khwar, Lasme, Spogmay? Let's call the whole thing off.
Potato. So, well, I have to disappoint you. I enjoyed it.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
oh, wow. Yeah. Fuck, I really didn't expect it. This is Ron!
Yeah, I thought,
you enjoyed it?
Yeah, well, I agree. Like, I thought, yeah, I agree. I thought it was fun, and wasn't taking itself seriously, and it had a little bit of I thought that the sound editing was interesting and effective, and and it kind of fuck, I can't take it. No, it was fucking terrible. It was awful.
Oh, really?
I tried.
Oh, you did.
I just wanted to disappoint you.
Wow, you did genuinely well played, sir. You can't see, but I'm shaking Ron's hand right now.
I wanted to keep it up. I wanted to disappoint you, but I thought maybe if I pretend, then he won't maybe watch anymore.
Now I'm disappointed again. I thought we'd made progress.
I would say, of course, it was definitely better than International Gorillas, and I made it
shorter.
Yeah, definitely, shorter. I made it all the way through this time. I made it through, but it was difficult. It was tough. Yeah, it definitely.
Okay.
If it was shorter, it wouldn't have been too bad, but it was just like, I just really wanted it to end. It was just really, and it was loud and and again, I just had no idea what was happening. It was just a bunch of weird, and again, I couldn't tell if it was
because
I don't know if it was because of low budget or if it was supposed to look like that. Like I didn't know.
Right.
Like are these supposed to be like the gang you talk about? Is this the gang that are wearing makeup, or are they just freaks, or are they actually supposed to be like demons, but they just have really bad costumes? And is the cat supposed to be a girl in a leotard, or is she actually supposed to just be a cat and they couldn't afford a better costume? Like I couldn't tell. Right.
We should clarify here for the listeners, because I think we've spoken of this off air more than we have on air.
Right.
This is a gulf between the two of us here. I think is a slight difference of approach. Is you find being cast adrift from kind of comprehension.
Right.
You find that quite difficult. Like if you really don't know what's going on and you don't know what's being said, and like something without subtitles, you find this more troublesome.
I'd say so.
Going with it.
But I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that like if it's like a movie that's purposely confusing, or if it's a mystery, or you're not really supposed to know what's going on, that doesn't bother me, because I assume it's going to work itself out in the end.
Right.
But the problem, I think, with movies like this is that I knew there was no hope. Like, from the first 5 minutes, I knew that I would never understand what was happening.
Right.
I knew that there was no way it was going to resolve itself, and I just have a lot less tolerance for watching something, considering I know I will never understand what's happening. Right. Yeah.
Right. No, I can.
And if it was and when you told me originally it was ostensibly a horror movie,
yes.
I had a little bit higher kind of, I was like, my spirits were lifted a little bit. I was like, well, at least, I can enjoy like a bad horror movie, even if I don't really, basically. But even still, I still didn't understand what was going on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there was a cat beast, and there were some people, and some singing, and that's basically all I got out of it. And so, yeah. But
did you enjoy anything about it? Did you at least find the?
I think there was
grueling assault of the sound kind of.
I think there was at least once or twice where I actually chuckled to myself, which I was surprised at. I was shocked that I actually, and I think it was something to do with. I think there was, as you said, it was apparently it was a comedy at some point, and I think there was a couple of things where I was like, I can't remember the example or the specifics, but I remember there was a couple of points where someone did something on the screen, and I went, "Oh, yes, that's kind of funny." So I think I was amused.
There's one breaking the fourth wall scene where the Catwoman attacks someone and then kind of licks her face, looking directly at the camera.
Right, yeah.
And that seems like it might be a deliberate kind of.
But it was very 90s. I mean, it felt like something you would watch in the 90s there. So, yeah, it was very. So I couldn't tell if it was. Again, I didn't know if it was low budget or if it was meant to be like that. And so, I mean, but I mean, it wasn't. It was just. I think the difference is that International Gorillas made me angry. Like I was angry at you for making me watch it. So this one, I was just tired. It was just made me tired. Tired to. I was just like, oh, I just want this to be finished, please. Please, no more noise.
This interests me though, because even though they're very different films, and they come from very different regions, and in some ways they're kind of different ways of filmmaking as well, but. What do you think? Because in a way, International Gorillas was easier for you because at least that had subtitles,
right?
So you could follow the story, right?
Right, yeah.
So what do you think it is about? What do you think made you angry about International Gorillas that didn't make you angry about this? What do you think the difference is?
Possibly, I went into Cat Beast with. More knowing what I was in for. I think it was so I think was a bit of a surprise for me. I think, and since I've already gone through that, I kind of know what to say, and also
in your
exactly right. Yeah. So and also because of the theme of this particular episode, I kind of knew what I was. You had already told me what we were going to be watching, and I kind of was already prepared for it. There's a bit more preparation for it,
even though that's not how I intended it. It was almost like a sneak attack.
Yes,
right?
it was. Yeah. So I didn't know that's what I was going to be in for. But so this one was I kind of knew what I was. I kind of prepared myself a little bit more, and I was like, okay, I got 2 hours. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to waste my life for 2 hours watching this. Right. So
I couldn't quite because I'm always kind of because I kind of think of these things as well as I like to think of them as. Opportunities to learn something. Right?
Yeah. I mean, so if that was the case, I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't. But maybe the next time if there is another time that we watch a movie like this,
split that.
If you sort of give me like what you just gave at the beginning today, like this is from this area of Pakistan, and this is this kind of it's more the body or so if I have that knowing going in. Maybe if I have more of like a
Cliff Notes,
or context for it, something. Right. Maybe I might be more palatable. Okay. Yeah. But I think it's just sort of like I just expected a horror movie without subtitles. I was
Right.
like, okay, I can get it. It was like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, who's this guy? What's going on now? Singing
Right.
again? Okay, there's more singing. Where's all the pretty girls? Where like.
Apologies to the cast
Well, no,
of the Khwar Lasme.
no, because my understanding of Bollywood movies is they tend to hire beautiful people. Like every Bollywood movie I've ever seen it's always been like the women are always like shockingly beautiful, like incredibly beautiful.
Bollywood, but yeah.
Right. Well, but
I know
there's a connection to it because it has like the singing and dancing.
It's a similar kind of entertainment.
So I expected it to be the same, and I was like, oh. And the first time I was like, oh, that girl's a little plump, and I was like, which, I mean, nothing against plump girls, I just didn't expect it from this type of movie. I expected it. So, and then it was like, oh, well, there's another one that's plump. Oh, and so, they're all like that. Okay. It was just more of like a shock, because it was not what I expected, kind of thing.
Well, that's what I mean.
I'm glad that the plump girls are getting jobs in Pakistan, good for them. I just didn't know that was a thing, so.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean by, that's something I didn't know, and now I kind of know.
Although if they're pretty girls, it makes it easier to watch, right? I guess. Okay. But
time's up, Rob.
Yeah, I guess.
But also, I was trying to read around it as well, because
Me too.
I was just kind of wondering: is this is it a one-off, or is the cat beast something from Pakistani mythology? Or I couldn't find out anything.
Was this movie popular in Pakistan, or was it like a real like hard to find like a hidden? How did you find this? How did you come across? How did you discover it?
I think I must have just either heard about it or read about it in one blog or another, devoted to odd cinema, offbeat cinema.
Right.
I often forget how these things come into my life, but
okay.
But what I mean is this. My reaction to it. I mean, I understand one reaction could be what the and kind of run in the other direction.
Right.
But I tend to be a little bit more the other way. I want to know more,
right,
in a way. So I'd like to see more. I will see more Pashto films, and then so I can answer those questions like,
right,
is this was this a hit,
right,
or was it a flop? If I go to Peshawar and say, hey, the Khwar Lasme Spogmay, everyone's like, we love that movie, or people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're all watching Friends, or, I have no idea.
Right, yeah.
But that lack of, I suppose it might be something to do with being a bit of a jaded film watcher as well.
Right.
Like, it's nice to recapture, like, when I was a kid, and the whole, when you first start watching films, you're like, wow, and you haven't seen anything, and and then when you've seen a whole bunch of shit, it's nice to find a new area where you're like a kid again.
I think the thing was that I was, when you said that it was a horror movie, and I was like, I at least had some hopes that like I would learn something. I was like, oh well, I'd like to see what a horror movie is like from Pakistan. Like, how does Pakistan handle horror movies? And I did go in with, perhaps my problem was that I went in with my expectations a little higher than negative. Even though knowing you had chose it specifically because you knew I was going to hate it, you still had framed it that maybe I might actually enjoy it somewhat.
Yeah,
right?
well, there was a small part of me thought
I could. So I was like, okay, well, but maybe that made it a little bit, my expectations a little bit too high, right? Okay. so because I was like, it was kind of just like almost like a home movie, like in terms of the production value. So it was,
but I have to admit, I'm not feeling the rage coming off you in waves.
As I said, it didn't make me angry. It just made me tired. Yeah, just
right.
Yeah, it was just,
I
was just tired.
I'll just have to try harder next time.
Oh, great. Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, it wasn't didn't make me angry, but it wasn't. It was a chore to get through, but not as much of a chore as International Girls, because it was 2/3 the length, right? I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but it would. I think I wouldn't have been as bad if it had been just like an hour and a half. The 2 hours.
The first time, and it happened straight away actually, because you don't have to wait that long. The first time you see the cat beast, didn't you think it had a certain kind of charm?
I think I was more like a That's it. This is what I was like. I was thought it was gonna be. Yeah, so that was kind of like. Okay, now I know what I'm in for. Okay.
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 Yeah, no, that's true. I should
Yeah.
point out to our listeners that if you go to YouTube, if you're not enjoying this after 5-10 minutes, then you probably
won't enjoy the
No,
rest of it. Yeah,
that-
so it
yeah.
doesn't get any better. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did have some hopes for like maybe the climax would have something, but it didn't really have. It was not.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's consistent
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Although I will say, if you ever find a copy of this with subtitles, I would be willing to
Oh, yeah?
have it a second look,
Okay.
just so I know what happened.
What do you think? I mean, my instinct would tell, again, it's unfair because we don't know, but my instinct would tell me, let's say a miracle would happen and a Blu-ray comes out and you can actually see it.
Right.
Which we never know, might actually do it a disservice.
Right,
Because at least now it does have a kind of atmosphere.
Right, yeah, I guess.
Whereas if you see everything clearly, it might
it's like,
look
oh,
worse.
fuck, yeah.
But if it did come out in a nice looking print and it had subtitles, do you think there is a lot more going on in the story that we're missing out on, and we'd be like, and that would enhance the viewing experience, or do you think your overall entertainment value is probably going to be about the same?
I think it would enhance it for me, because as I said, I have a very low tolerance for just not understanding things, what was happening, and it makes me frustrated to know, like, well, what were they talking about? I just want to know what they were saying. So as long as if I say, that's what they said, like, okay, fine, like, I can kind of get it, right? So I think I'm more forgiving in general if I understand.
But do you think it would make, not so much its effect, do you think it would make a better film, or do you think you're do you think...
I don't think it'll make it a better film. I think it will increase my enjoyment of the film, though. So.
But do you think we've probably got the measure of it?
I think so. I mean,
okay. Yes, I would say
I
so.
Would think so. Yeah. So
too.
Yeah.
No. Obviously, if something is, I mean, I'll go out of my way to see something if it is available.
Right.
But of course, with stuff like this, it's all we've got.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
so
just for me, the reason I don't go out of my way to be confused, but I like to seek out new things, and if this is the only way to do it, then I would rather see it than not see it.
But do you think that you got something out of it at the end? Do you think that you learned something from it?
Well, in as much as you learn anything from any movie, I mean, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, I know microscopic more about Pashto cinema than I did before I saw it, and I plan to add to that, and hopefully in a few years I might have a better overview of Pashto exploitation cinema, I guess. And you never know, I might write a book about Pashto cinema one day. You never know, right?
It's gonna fly off the shelves like hotcakes. I'm sure.
I know who's going to be first in line.
Sign me up for the copy of that.
Anyway, I think that's about it.
For like May.
Yeah. And if you thought I struck a low blow, Ron went lower. Ron, what did you force me to endure? You motherfucker. I think you might have won this round.
So I won. I chose.
Look at your delighted little horrible face.
I chose based on some comments that Clive had made in the past, so I knew he already had a distaste for it. The
cheating.
No, because you did it because of my understanding of international growth.
I think it's a low blow.
Is it? Okay, so let me bring it up here. So I chose the 2002 classic Van Wilder, starring Ryan Reynolds and Tara Reid.
Right.
Back when Tara Reid was still kind of hot. And Tim Matheson and Cal Penn.
I believe she's doing Pakistani cinema.
Oh, is she? Yeah. Is she Sharknado, the Pakistani version? Yeah.
Is she? Oh, yeah,
she's in all the Sharknadoes. Right. Yeah, she's the Sharknado girl. Yeah, so and her skin looks like leather now. It's like.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
She gone the tanning route?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she's. It looks. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, so this was
National
Lampoon's Van Wilder. Yes, yeah. To be fair,
I'd forgotten actually because I had seen this before. I'd forgotten that it was in the
National Lampoon.
Under the National Lampoon banner.
Right.
But I don't think it's actually, it's just they've lent their name to it. It's not, I don't think there is like an old character from National Lampoon comics.
I don't think so, but I think. Well, I mean, National Lampoon had the vacation movies. What else did National Lampoon do?
There's a few over the years, but I think some of them have been retroactively given. Did they have like a cinema branch where like one of them who did National Lampoon, they wrote a movie and then they came under their banner or something? I don't know. I don't know what the connection was. There's the vacation film. I think it's just because it's under that banner because I guess it means something to...
Does someone own the name National Lampoon and they produced it or something? Or
I'm not sure. It must be something like that because, to be honest, I'm not overly familiar with National Lampoon magazine or comic, right?
Right.
I mean, it never made... I mean, I know Mad magazine.
Right.
And I know for some people National Lampoon holds a similar...
Right.
It has a similar standing in the comedy kind of community, right?
Right.
But I don't know. But I'm guessing that the link is tenuous at best, right?
Right.
So you've got the vacation movies, and then the class reunion. I remember seeing years ago National Lampoon's class reunion, and there's one called Movie Madness, right? And I think there's some that weren't made as National Lampoon movies. And then were retroactively given the National Lampoon banner to increase its chances in the marketplace, I guess.
And then there was, did you see the movie A Futile and Stupid Gesture?
No. Is that a National Lampoon one?
No, it's about the history of how National Lampoon was created.
Right. Okay.
So actually it was a quite good movie, actually. It was interesting. So that might shed some light on that.
Yes.
On that. It actually is it's a Netflix movie. It's A Futile and Stupid Gesture.
Oh, is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's a Netflix movie. Yeah, from last year, and it basically tells the story of the two guys who created the National Lampoon magazine, and then how it kind of.
So did they get into the movies?
I think it finishes with the first or second movie. It finishes right about the time when the one guy dies.
Okay.
One of them dies, and like mysteriously they think he either killed himself or he fell off. Well, it's history, right? He either killed himself or he fell off a mountain or something. They're not sure exactly what happened, but
right. Okay.
Do you know? Am I telling you this?
No. It sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay.
But, I'm not overly familiar.
Okay.
But I am. It's one of those things I've always wanted to like get. Some kind of coffee table book like the Mad magazine collections, which is like best of National Lampoon.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I just haven't got around.
So anyway, this movie was kind of interesting in terms of the history of that whole series. I think they finished around because then they had Animal House, and then it was like around
Animal House. Yes.
Yeah, it was the other one. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So it was around the early times, and so then it kind of finished around that time. So
I suppose as well you could think that Van Wilder is kind of tapping into that whole Animal House thing.
Yes,
well, right?
It certainly falls in that tradition, right? So Van Wilder was love it or hate it.
Hate for me.
It's a pretty traditional
it's a
campus sex gross out comedy, right? So in that tradition, right?
There's rewatching it, especially considering it's the unrated version.
Right.
I was actually surprised. There's not much nudity in it.
No, it's very there's like one place there, and then they had a lot of like gross out stuff like with the eclairs.
So we will get to that. I want to mention that. So what's do you have any idea what's in the non-unrated version?
I don't. I don't think it's a nudity thing. I assume the non-rated would be.
Just the gross out stuff?
I think probably more of the gross out stuff, the stuff that gave it. I think it has an R rating. So
the R-rated one must just be really bland.
Yeah.
Funny because it doesn't. Wow, that's.
I don't know. I didn't see the. I don't think I saw the. Or if I did, I don't remember anything about it. So.
So the one before you introduce your choice, the one thing I wasn't aware of the first time I saw it, and I looked up this time was apparently it's based on the real exploits, right? Of this guy called Bert Kreischer, who's a stand-up comedian now. And I was slightly curious, so just before coming here today, I quickly looked up on YouTube, and there's a few clips of Bert Kreischer, and he's not funny, but he does.
Is that the fat guy who doesn't put his shirt on?
That's not the clip I saw, but yes, I believe he did do some shows which were billed as like the naked man.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I don't think I've ever seen his stand-up, but
he's not very funny.
Yeah, the clips I did see of it was like he just he's fat and he takes his shirt off and he does comedy. I was like, well,
right.
So,
beyond that as well, I think from the clips I saw, I think he's trying to tap into the slightly politically incorrect kind of telling it like it is. Woo,
a lot of comedians do that.
But not in a way you just get the feeling that he's actually just doing it as an excuse to tell vaguely racist jokes rather than doing something smart with it.
Right. Okay, right. But anyway, so
what's this film about, Ron? For anyone out there who's lucky enough to have never seen it.
Well, again, it's a quite traditional kind of like raunchy campus comedy about a guy who is very popular and he likes school and doesn't want to leave school, and so he kind of keeps
played by which comedy genius would this be, Ron?
Played by, of course, Ryan Reynolds. Okay, so basically this was. You could see a lot that this movie was like a precursor to the Deadpool series, where he was. It's basically.
Okay. I haven't seen the Deadpool film,
so it's very much. I would say, of course, Deadpool. The comedy lands better. Is certainly a lot better comedy, but it certainly has a very similar feel in terms of the character is quite similar. Right. Basically, without the healing powers and the super suit, it feels like Deadpool before he was Deadpool. So
see that's one of the reasons
the personality.
I haven't gone out of my way to see Deadpool, because everyone tells me they're great, and I may enjoy them. I certainly will but I just know because it is not a million miles away from the Ryan Reynolds shtick, right? The basic tone.
Right. Ryan Reynolds has this thing, which is he has this kind of like this kind of like smirky, kind of smug kind of thing.
That's why I haven't said, because it's always pissed me off.
Okay.
So that's why.
So I would really be curious what you would think of a Deadpool movie just based on that, because I think. I mean,
well, if I haven't seen it by this time next year.
Well, I haven't. I don't think this movie was great. I enjoyed watching the movie just as much as you watch any kind of like stupid comedy kind of like. I think there's stuff to be gleaned from here, kind of thing. As much as you want to watch Screwballs or. Of course, I wouldn't say it's as good as Porky's, but it's in the same.
That's sacrilegious.
Yeah, but it's in the same genre at the very least. You know what I mean? So it's trying to be that type of movie, right? So the type of humor is similar, right? It's in the same vein.
Other than it's not funny.
It's closer to Porky's than it is to the Cat Beast, right? So.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah. So in that case,
yes.
so in that case, I don't remember what my point was, but so I would say that the comedy isn't always as good in this movie. They certainly rely on a lot of like gross out stuff, but they do make some choices. But I think Deadpool the comedy lands better. Okay. But it is. The type of comedy, or at least his delivery, is very similar, right? Because that's the Ryan Reynolds thing, right?
So just to fill it in a bit, so basically Ryan Reynolds, and he turns out he doesn't want to leave college, so he keeps going back.
So he keeps going back.
He's also like a kind of he's a party animal.
And almost
he's not actually that much himself, but he puts on a good party.
Yeah, he puts on a good party, and he's kind
the toast of the campus.
Yeah, and he's kind of very popular and kind of like legendary around the campus, and
big man on campus,
big man, and people have lots of stories about his exploits and kind of stuff. Yeah, he's very.
And Tara Reid is an investigative journalist. Don't laugh. She's an investigative journalist sent to expose.
Or to do an expose on this guy who's been around and has like all these things, and so she has to. Kind of like turn the bad boy straight, right? Kind of like she's got to straighten him out, and so she, against her will, falls in love with the guy, and of course he's a party animal and gets all sorts of girls, but he, against his will, falls in love with her too, and blah blah blah, and then hijinks ensue, right? So
now before anyone, I'm not a movie snob. I've nothing against this type of film,
right?
If it was done well. But my problem is, what I wrote down here is 0 laughs. Seriously, I'm not being... 9/11 had more laughs than this film. Not once did I even smile.
Yeah.
Well, the first time or this time, it was just
Yes, I win. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of the comedy was
Taking
trying
off my ring, Ron.
was trying quite hard. I mean, there was a lot of like kind of like I mean, this type of humor tends to be very broad and tends to be they definitely tried a lot.
I don't mind that. It's just not funny.
Yeah. Well, they definitely went for more like the gross out kind of thing, with the things like the the eclair scene. Let's talk about the eclair scene.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
okay. If there's one thing going for this film, this scene, this sequence is at least admirably disgusting.
Right. And I get the impression watching the movie again that almost this was the scene that the movie was written around.
This is the only thing I remember as well.
It was sort of like this was like their crowning jewel. They gotta have that scene. Right?
So basically, Van Wilder wants to get back at his campus enemies, who are these kind of rich asshole dudes.
But of course, and going right for the punchline where they're in the fraternity called DIK, Dick. Right? Right. Very good. They go right there for it. Right.
So, and he does this by gifting them some like cream rolls, right? Cream eclairs. But get this, they've jerked off a bulldog, who seems to have huge balls because he's all backed up from not having sex for ages. So they've jerked off this dog into these eclairs, right? And then they're delivered, and these guys are chowing down on them. They're still warm, right?
Yeah.
So this scene is
dribbling the juice into their mouth.
And it is, to be fair, if you're going for gross out, this is proper
gross out.
Gross.
Yeah.
Of course, they missed a trick. If they'd have delivered them to the sorority house and had Tara Reid and some cheerleaders, that would have been kind of sexy then. And then it would have made an automatic classic.
No, but of course you got to get back at the jerks at the rival,
that.
Of course, right?
Well, my idea is a totally different movie.
Yes, I guess. Yeah. But they're going for the comeuppance for like the jerks who you're trying to bring him down. Who took his girl, right? Basically. So of course, it's I guess important to mention that his main rival, of course, is Tara Reid's fiance, or boyfriend at the time, and wanted to be fiance. And so of course it's literally his obstacle to the girl and to his happy life, right?
Yes.
So of course he's very preppy and kind of and literally and figuratively a dick, right? Because he's also in the dick and DIK, right? So, but then they also have such great comedy moments as farting strippers. Strippers that fart, like they go to the strippers that fart in the face, and the gigantic floating dog balls that are and then they're in the hot tub, and the dog balls float to the surface, and
how we laugh.
And of course, Kal Penn, who is pre Harold and Kumar, who became famous for very similar type of movies.
That's who that guy is.
Harold and Kumar.
Taj.
Yeah, Taj.
Who was in the sequels.
Yes. Who
was in the first sequel.
Yes, and then actually became not the first sequel. Well, so one of the sequels became
Rise
of Taj. Right.
I didn't see the third one. Did you see the third one?
I didn't see. No, I didn't see. But there were two sequels to this, so it was big. And it was obviously the movie was popular enough to spawn two more sequels from it. So, but of course, Kal Penn doing his best. Stereotype of an Indian guy, I guess, right? So, which I don't know how he felt about that himself. Interestingly, and then there's like the really gross student loan officer who basically harasses and sexually abuses Van Wilder, exchanging sex for student loan favors.
Oh, soothe my aching sides.
Yeah, and Tara Reid, as I said, pre-Sharknado, so she's still kind of hot in this movie, but still a terrible actress. I don't know how Tara Reid ever got.
What was it? Was it Alone in the Dark where she played like she was supposed to be like some kind of forensics expert or some kind of I think she was an archaeologist.
Something like that.
In hot pants, and you're like, not buying that. She does have a certain. I mean, let's go full on sexist, seeing as no one listens to this show. Anyway, she does have. She does have in certain moments when she's wearing the right thing on. She does have a real. Slut trash aesthetic, doesn't she? From time to time.
She does. Yeah.
She did have that going for her for a short while.
Right, yeah. So and the American Pie, those years.
Yeah.
So,
I suppose her ultimate role is the Big Lebowski, right?
Right.
Because she's the daughter.
Right.
Who, when the Big Lebowski turns around, sucking on a lollipop or something, and goes, "I'll suck your cock for $1,000,"
right.
And you're thinking that might be worth it, because she did have that specific look, right? I mean, I don't think that's overly objectionable or controversial to say that was her appeal.
Right. Yeah, it's a sexist thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I had one thing I didn't realize the first time I saw this, but it actually has a whole bunch of cameos from people who are pre-famous, like before they became famous. So first of all, not just a cameo, but Tim Matheson plays Van Wilder's dad, seeming a little bit out of his element in this movie, but so he definitely did it for the paycheck, I guess. But everybody, he's there and he does his best with that. Has Simon Helberg, who is now very famous for being on The Big Bang Theory.
Who is he?
He was one of the geeks in the geeky fraternity that does the.
Oh, and he sends that's the one bit that has nudity in, right?
Yeah.
He sends some
Yes.
topless
Yeah. That
right.
guy. Yes, he's one of those guys, and he was
topless
also
tutors.
Topless tutors.
Yeah, that was. To be fair, seeing as it was not funny, I could have enjoyed it if they were. I mean, again, if I don't think this is objectionable. If you're making a sex film, put some sex in it. Like if you had it at wall-to-wall tits, I could have at least enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really have that going for its eyes. I'm not quite sure. So did you laugh, Ron? Did you actually find this funny? Did you go ha from time to time?
I wouldn't say that, no, because I think I probably did when I first saw it.
Okay.
I think I probably did in the original. So I think it was the style of comedy was very 2002. It's very American Pie style comedy, the sex gross out kind of stuff, and it was around that time. And around that time, there was Tomcats. There was a lot of these movies that were like that. It was very much like in the vein of those movies.
New Guy.
So this one I was kind of like, okay. I had less of a tolerance for that. Or less appreciation for that kind of humor in these because it's just not what I find funny these days. But I appreciated it for the attempts it was making. Right, so it was. I mean, it wasn't just because I didn't laugh doesn't mean that the joke was necessarily bad. But it made the attempt at the very least. And I'm sure there's someone somewhere who still thinks this is funny. So.
Oh God, I don't want to meet that person. To be slightly fair to it, I suppose I would say at least it, even though I didn't laugh and it's not sexy really, and they missed. Oh well, no, I suppose the dog kind of thing is admirably disgusting, but they could have gone a whole other. But that should have probably been another film.
Right. Yeah.
I suppose from a utilitarian point of view. It does kind of get from A to B and hit the beats.
Yeah, I mean,
it's supposed to.
It's basically, I mean, maybe the jokes weren't that good, but it did everything it was supposed to do for this kind of job, right?
It doesn't.
It had everything you wanted.
If it was a bicycle, its wheels are fully pumped full of
air.
Exactly.
You got the likable, generally speaking, likable protagonist. You got the preppy supposedly likable. You got the love interest.
Trying to be as objective as possible.
You got the love interest. The cute love interest at the time. You've got the preppy guy who's like he's like the guy in all the ski school movies that has like the turtleneck on, he's like the preppy obstacle to this, who is obsessed with being a doctor, and so he seems to think that it's all he does is talk about like medical words for everything. I think that was a bit of a miss of the mark on those jokes where he's having sex and he's like using like overly scientific words of that. So
I'm impressed that you can grade it like that because you're probably right. I think you have the eyes to see it that I don't.
Yeah. I have
it's all unfunny.
Yeah. So I have a more of an appreciation and an understanding of comedy. I'm not saying more than you, but I do have an appreciation and understanding of comedy in general and
I think you're
types
better,
of views, types of humor.
I think you're better at taking an objective view on comedy, whereas I'm just it's funny or it's not.
It's not funny. Yeah.
So whereas I think you can, you're better at kind of judging something in the context.
Right,
of it.
right, yeah. So, and I think it was successful in doing what it was trying to do. I mean, there weren't like hilarious jokes, but I don't think it was trying for hilarious. I think they were trying for those types of jokes, and I think they were generally speaking, successful for those types of jokes. And then, but then it's got like, it's got the, he gets kicked out, the obstacle, he gets kicked out of school, but and then you got the dad who wants to pull his funding, and then you got the people who are helping him, and it hits all the beats for this type of a movie, right? It's all there, right? All those stock characters, all those, things are there. So, I mean, if you like those types of movies, then there's nothing, I'm sure you enjoy this one just as much as well, right? So, I mean,
I wouldn't go. What I mean is, I think there is a hierarchy, though. I think there are films that do all the hitting all the beats, but also are funny, and I would recommend.
Sure,
I would enjoy.
Yeah.
The other cameos as well, which are more specific to this genre, I suppose, is Curtis Armstrong,
right?
From Revenge of the Nerds.
Booger.
Right?
Yep, exactly.
We have Bush.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a great example of a film like this that is funny.
Yeah,
does work,
Revenge of the Nerds. Revenge of the Nerds.
Also has
Paul Gleason
from Breakfast Club, which is slightly different, but again, teen appeal.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he plays the teacher. Kind of thing, right? So, and then Eric Estrada has a cameo, which was kind of strange, but I think
not very forgiving. He was quite a good sport.
I think so. Yeah, so but and then also had I don't know if you caught this one. You may not know this actor, but Aaron Paul had a very small cameo at the end.
Okay, and I know the name.
And Aaron Paul has become really famous these days for being in Breaking Bad. He was the Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. So, and he plays this kind of stoner guy at the very, very end, who gives like the wrong directions to Tara. I can't remember exactly what he did, but so he's at the party at the end kind of thing. So he had just a very small part, and he's become quite very famous, and he's also in like BoJack Horseman and stuff like that. So, but so his was kind of like a before he became big kind of thing.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, National Lampoon movies in general tend to be hit or miss, but also I think
I can't think of a funny one apart from maybe Animal House.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
I think Christmas Vacation is hilarious. I really like Christmas Vacation, and I think vacation movies are pretty good too. I don't. Yeah.
How about,
but I think
what's that one with Paris Hilton? National Lampoon's Pledge. This.
Oh, there was also Road Trip. I forgot that one.
Was that a National Lampoon?
Yeah, I think it was. It was. Yeah, with DJ Qualls. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
DJ Qualls.
Yeah. So I think generally speaking,
at least DJ Qualls isn't in Van Wilder. That's a good thing, I suppose. From the look of the bright side.
But anyway, National Lampoon has a very specific style of comedy, and I think it fit in with the theme of what the National Lampoon tends to do. National Lampoon isn't always funny, but they're very consistent with their type of humor, I think, right? So
it's interesting you say that, because I'm wondering, I'm not seeing a through line in the movies.
Really?
I think they're a real. Well, certainly some of them have just had the name attached to them.
Animal House to Van Wilder is not the far jump, right?
No, but it's not a consistent line from one to the other. They're kind of blips, right? So Animal House and obviously Van Wilder's a callback to Animal House.
Right.
But all the ones in between, those two,
right.
Other than the three vacation movies, but they're their own three. They're their own little thing, right? They're clearly connected. But the others, they're a very. I don't feel as if there's a National Lampoon aesthetic.
You don't think so? I feel there is. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not. So does that aesthetic connect back to the magazine?
Here we go. I actually have a list of the National Lampoon movies.
But the aesthetic you're talking about, does it link back to the magazine? Does it mirror the humor of the magazine?
I never read the magazine, so I don't know. I can only imagine it
judging
does.
from the documentary you watched.
I can imagine it does, probably.
Okay, because I always got my feel, and again, mine is as might be wrong,
right.
But my feeling has always been that National Lampoon was again might be hit or miss, but was a funny, groundbreaking humor magazine in the vein of Mad.
It was, yes. Yeah.
And then the movies were just a cash in on the name and almost nothing to do with the tone of the original magazines. And then it's just an almost thrown together series of movies. Not even a series. It's just like an assortment of various comedies that just got tagged National Lampoon. But there's no overarching...
Okay, well, sorry.
theme or tone.
Here, I'll read you from the Wikipedia page. It says right here, I said, there is considerable ambiguity about what constitutes a National Lampoon film, because after Animal House was a success, any movies could license the title National Lampoon.
There we go.
Yeah, so a lot of these so-called National Lampoon movies were unrelated.
I think so, because if you think about even Animal House to, like, Vacation,
right?
What's the connection?
Well, I think there is a connection in terms of the type of comedy or the type of humor used.
Really?
Yeah, I do, especially with like the, I can see it. I'd have to think about it a lot more harder.
Because what I mean is, now obviously I'm not trying to compare it because it would like apples and oranges, but like you have like the Ealing comedies, right? Like the Ealing comedies, they all have a very they all have a certain tone, which kind of you know an Ealing comedy when you see it, right?
Right.
But in terms of what I mean is, on the one hand, I know what you're saying. They all have a kind of slightly dark or gross edge to them. But then again, so many other movies did as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
But that doesn't.
I'm not seeing the specific National Lampoon flavour that a whole bunch load of other movies didn't have. I don't see what differentiates.
But that doesn't mean that they weren't like copying National Lampoon movies or trying to do the same type of humor kind of thing. So I'm not saying that they are not also similar, but that National Lampoon themselves did.
I suppose this is how I see it then. I see it as from 1978 to, I suppose, until the present day, there's a certain type of slightly gross out frat boyish comedy movies, and there's fucking hundreds of them made.
Of course, yeah.
And some of them have been lucky enough to license the National Lampoon, and some others haven't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there's a connection. There's no like connecting through line. Like you could just stick you could say National Lampoon's The New Guy,
right?
Or National Lampoon's Tomcats,
right?
And there would be no. You wouldn't go. Oh, hang on now. I can tell this isn't a National Lampoon. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I that's what I mean. There's no distinctive flavour, whereas you seem to think there is. You might be right, but I don't see it.
But I mean, I would say among the actual true
fucking arguing about Van Wilder.
I think
what have you done to me, Ron?
I mean, I'd have to do more research on what is a true National Lampoon movie,
yes,
and if there is a through line. But I always feel like, but it even says here that the Associated Press review called "The National Lampoon," once a brand name above nearly all others in comedy, has become shorthand for a pathetic frat boy humor.
That sounds about right.
Which is about right, right? So yeah. So, but I think that's because it's basically free to be licensed by other.
But what I mean, so that's what I mean. So it's almost a meaningless tag.
Right. Yeah.
I would argue.
But however, the original company had Animal House, Class Reunion.
Okay.
Yes. Movie Madness.
Yes.
Vacation, European Vacation, and Christmas Vacation.
Right.
And those were the original company.
See, those I can.
And so you can see them, right? You can see a
little bit, especially. I think the Vacation movies are almost separate unto themselves.
Right.
But the movie Madness and Class Reunion and Animal House.
And then in the early 90s, it was bought by a company called J2 Communications. And then they did different ones, which was Loaded Weapon 1, Senior Trip.
Oh, fuck, I'd forgotten about
Vegas
Loaded
Vacation, Golf Punks, Van Wilder, Replicate, Blackball, Jake's Booty Call.
I didn't see most of those.
I don't. I saw Vegas Vacation because it was and I think I saw Senior Trip and Loaded Weapon, but
I saw Loaded Weapon 1 in the theater.
And then in 2003, it was bought by National Lampoon Incorporated, which came a new one, and they did Gold Diggers, Dorm Days, Barely Legal, Going the Distance, The Almost Guys, Adam and Eve, Cattle Call, Electric Apricot Quest for Festeroo, Pucked, Van Wilder, The Rise of Taj, The Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell, Stoned Age, Totally Baked, a Potumentary, Bag Boy, One Too Many, Robodoc, Transylmania, Endless Bummer, Cheerleaders Must Die.
Wow, it's like
Dirty Movie, Ratco, The Dictator's Son, Frat Chance, Awesomest Maximus, Snatched, Surf Party, and Drunk, Stone, Brilliant, Dead.
It's like you can hear Western civilization circling the drain, right?
Yeah. So, but I think, generally speaking, the original company had some decent stuff in there,
right?
And then you can see the general descent into kind of like mediocrity and badness through depending who
now
owned
that
it,
we've
right?
talked it out, Ron, there might be something to your thesis that they do represent something, but something not very good.
Well, now they do. I think when they started, they did. I think all of those movies, Animal House. I haven't seen Class Reunion.
Maybe they were just the beginning of the end.
Could be, but I haven't seen Class Reunion or Movie Madness in many, many years, so I can't really remember much about it.
I did actually try to rewatch Class Reunion not that long ago. It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad, yeah.
Because I remember quite liking it when I first saw it.
I remember liking it when I was a kid.
But I first saw it, when I was like 10 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe even younger, I think.
Yeah, it was 82, so...
Yeah, I remember taping it off late night TV.
Right, yeah.
The only thing I remembered about it was they tricked him into fucking his sister, right?
Ah, okay.
Does that sound vaguely?
Maybe. So.
And it's very similar to another. There's another horror movie. Is it The Redeemer? No, The Redeemer, and it has almost exactly the same plot, except that it's not a comedy.
Not a comedy, yeah. So,
But no, I remember watching it recently, and it's pretty bad. Yeah. So.
Anyway, to be fair, but. I don't think, but again, there's a if you want to go into this stream, is that there's an argument to be had about what is there such a thing as bad comedy, because there's comedy
it's called Van Wilder.
Well, comedy can be evaluated on three levels. It can be evaluated on if you laughed or if you didn't.
Yeah,
and it can be laughed on if it's moral or not, if it's a moral kind of comedy.
Okay.
Right? And if the joke is well crafted or not.
Right.
Right? And so I'd say if...
This fails on all three.
Well, you might say so, but other people might disagree, right?
Because
then the other thing about comedy is that comedy is very subjective, right? So there's what we find funny and the person does not. So I think that it was pretty good for this kind of comedy. If you like this kind of comedy, you might enjoy this. You probably would enjoy this movie. But I think
then again, that's why you chose.
Yeah, but that's why I chose. Yeah, so yeah.
So let me take in this slightly different direction.
But I'm surprised about your hate, like your overt hatred for it, because I think it's a mediocre movie. I think at best. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed. I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't think I laughed very much, but that's just me. But I don't think it was.
I think
because I didn't enjoy the movie, but I certainly didn't hate it.
I think my problem with it, especially on original release, less so now because I feel in some ways it's been eclipsed by other films. But I think it was the combination of unfunny and. Some of the comedies kind of mean-spirited.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah,
but not in a dark or black or savage way. Just in a kind of that's just fucking mean way. I suppose the worst character in it is the eager to please girl who works.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah. Well,
you just think.
Certainly, a lot of the stuff doesn't work in the Me Too era. So I mean,
well, no. I don't think that stuff worked then.
Oh, I see.
For me,
I
just thought that's just me. But to be honest, I think things have probably, until maybe recently, got worse in some ways because now it seemed almost tame.
Right.
There've been worse
of course.
things.
Well, but I mean, look at
the Scary Movie. Some of the stuff in them. It's just dude, and I'm not in any way kind of easy to offend, but you just think, why did you have to go there? You know.
But I mean, well, look at for example, the Lone Officer. You know there
we go.
So there's an example. Is that I mean, she's very old and she's got missing teeth and stuff. But who cares, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is, I felt bad for him not because he had to he had to have sex with an ugly woman so he could stay
Right,
at school.
right.
I felt bad for him because she was like literally raping him, right? So, I mean, like, so it was sort of like,
No, it's just
Yeah.
it just seems mean. And then even the opening gag with the tailor Sukri.
Oh, yeah,
or whatever,
where she looks like she's
it's
giving,
just that kind of weird mix of when it's something. It's not overtly racist in any way, but it's just sometimes when people use certain kind of race-based or gender-based comedy, and it's not overtly racist or sexist, but it's just, well, actually the sexist stuff is sexist, but the racist stuff, but it's just it's the combination of not funny and just kind of I suppose playing it up for the lowest common denominator,
right?
That just feels. I don't want to say irresponsible because no one should necessarily have a responsibility for that. But you just think, just aim a bit fucking higher. Do you know what I mean? It's just if it was funny, like if it managed to get me to just go like without thinking, like if it just managed to get that out of me, I'd have a bit more respect for it. But it just didn't work. Work. So I'm not oblivious to this kind of thing. I just don't think it does it well.
Right. Did you watch Rise of Taj?
Not this time. I did see it. I think I saw half of it when it was new, and
it's more of the same.
I think so.
I would imagine.
I don't really
can't imagine
remember.
It goes too much off the mark.
You didn't see it?
I don't think it.
How about freshman year?
No, I can't remember if I saw that one or not. It sounds like so many other movies. So
because the thing is, I do watch these movies now and again. I don't know what it is. I suppose there's something. There's an eternal nostalgia built into teen appeal movies,
of course,
right?
yeah.
So there's that, and tits as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's a good way to keep up with that kind of thing as well. Like the new kind of those when you were a teenage boy and you'd remember certain scenes keep you going. There's a certain
you rewind the VCR.
I like to kind of keep up to date with those because it's kind of fun to see. And it takes you right back there to that time. So, but there's not much of that going on here either. I didn't think. So well done, well played, Shaky. I think you may have won this round. Although I think I may have wounded you ever so slightly. And let's not forget that the genius auteur behind Van Wilder, Walt Becker, also made that fucking film Wild Hogs.
Oh, I don't.
Do you remember that?
No.
This was the biker film with biker comedy with John Travolta and. What's that? Tim Allen.
Oh, really?
And
that's vaguely familiar.
Jump on their hogs for one last ride.
Like Easy Rider for old men.
Right. Yeah. You could program that for next.
Yeah. I guess.
Right. Yeah. I hate you, Ron.
Yeah, I hate you too, Clive.
And we hate you too, listeners.
Yeah. So shitty Valentine's Day.
Fuck you. Michael.